Hello everybody. This is the first video in a series, probably a long series of videos that I'm going to do that will cover 2D toolpaths. And we're only going to cover 2D toolpaths right now. Eventually down the road we're going to go through and do 2D toolpaths, 3D toolpaths, and some of the multi-axis toolpaths. But for now we're gonna start with just the 2D stuff. And what we're gonna do is, if you look behind me here, there's a drawing, and I'll make these drawings available as we go along on a Google Drive. And I'll put the link in the description down below, down there. And the drawing that will be that's tied to the video the links will it'll be linked to that specific drawing. And what we're going to do is we're going to machine a part complete using, just the toolpaths that this series is designed around. So obviously this is 2D toolpaths, so we're going to be using all those, and that's why I've got this title 2D toolpaths here, and it's lesson 1. So there'll probably be multiple parts per this 2D toolpath series, because not all parts have features that go along with that. This part has no slots or anything, and there's slot toolpaths and stuff like that in Mastercam that we're going to go through. A lot of those I don't particularly use, but we're going to do them anyway, just so everybody gets familiar with them. Maybe I'll even probably get familiar with them, because I don't use them as much, and maybe I'll use them more. I don't know. But basically, I want to show how different toolpaths can be used to achieve the same goal. And we can use a contour that's a helix, or basically a helix toolpath, to create a hole, or we can drill a hole, or so on and so on. So that's the idea. And all these things can be used based on the type of material you're trying to machine, or application, things like that. There's just the sky's the limit on this stuff. And these videos will go a little bit more into more detail than the previous videos I've done. Those were just basic overviews of certain things. We're going to go through the manufacturing process of this part, study the drawing, see, put in to practice our general machining practices and things like that, so that we're, machining the part in a correct way. Just all the things that you should be doing. After we figured out how we're going to machine it, we'll go through and select tools. We'll even create some tools, so you know how to go through that process. And then as we're going along, if anyone has any questions, or any specific things they'd like to go over, please comment and send questions, and we'll see what we can cover in videos on down the road. But for now, this, like I said, this is not that one. Let me switch to this one. This is the drawing we're going to be using behind me. So we're going to end up going through this, looking over all the tolerances, selecting tools, and coming up with a plan to machine this. All right, let's get started. We're going to go through and get an idea on how we want to machine this part. So let me zoom back out real quick so we can look at the overall thing. If we look at our isometric view here, we'll have to start thinking about, you know, we're going to do one op, but what's, you know, think about down the road when we go to do the second op, how we're going to hold it. So you have to think about everything all at once before you even begin, or you'll run into problems. This is not a square part, so it's not like we could just, you know, do the bottom side of it, do it from the bottom, do this outside shape, put 3 holes in it, and then this center bore, and then flip it over and hold it in the vise again, and do the rest of it, because we got one long flat side, but we got this one odd side too that it probably wouldn't hold very well. We could machine vise jaws where we could come in and, you know, perhaps come around this area here and hold on to that, which is something we may look at doing. You know, in that consideration, when you're considering stuff like that, you want to look at, is this one piece or is it multiple pieces? We're going to treat this like this is a one-off part that we've only got to do one of. So when you get down to it, the quickest and dirtiest way to do it is the cheapest and how you make money off of it. So, all right, if we're going to do it that way, if we'll say we're going to mill vise jaws for it on the next op and hold it that way, what can we get away with machining? Another thing we'll have to take into consideration is stress in the material. This is going to be low carbon steel. Since we're going to be machining the part all the way around, you know, the customer's got listed 1018 or A36. I would go with the A36 before the 1018, because when you start machining, the 1018 is going to have a whole lot more stress in it. So we're going to pretend we thought ahead and bought low carbon hot roll. Be less stressful. What size stock do we need? Well, we're 20 millimeters thick, but we probably want to go with 1 inch thick stock. Forgive me here, I'm going to keep notes so I know what we're doing later on down the road, because I may have to film this in multiple parts, or I will film it in multiple parts, but I want to remember what I did, not have it all screwed up. So we're going to do 1 inch thick stock, and I'm going to make a note that we're using A36. Now, lengthwise, we've got 1890. Did it leave off a dimension? No, they did not. It's just that line's hidden when it's printed out. We've got 1890. Let me open this up. Got 1.890 times 2 plus 0.335 plus 0.335. So the overall length is 4.5 inches roughly. So we're going to start with 4 3/4 long, and then we've got to figure out our width. And the way I did that, so I got 1890. This radius is 335, so you got that twice because we're going center to center. We're going to do our width this same way. We got 0.472 plus 0.335 plus like I said, this line got wiped out by something. 1.381 plus 1.381 plus this is a 3 times or 3 places this R335, so that's the same. So plus that again. So plus 0.335. So the overall width is a little over 2.5 inches. So we're going to say we bought 3-inch wide stock. All right, so we know what size stock we got. Now, we're probably going to machine this bottom face first. So what we want to do is we're going to hold on this side, and I'll go over this some more in Mastercam. I've actually got a model for this. We're not going to use the model to machine it, but I'm going to I'll go into Mastercam. That way I can move the model around and we can see basically what we're going to do. Go back over what we're going to do. So we want to machine this part, clean this face up first. And this face is a datum, so this part may actually move. What we have to be careful of is, even though we're selecting that low carbon hot roll, it's still probably going to move when we machine out all these features here. They don't have a flatness call out, but we want it to be as flat as possible. So what we may have to do is actually do this in more than 2 ops. And my thinking is machine this backside, but not clean up this whole outer profile. What we'll do is machine this back face and then machine it square on 2 edges, but not to a finished size. Probably machine the whole around the whole outside, so we've got something to locate off of on the next operation. And then once we've got that done, we'll flip it up and then machine from the square stock all the way into these features. Blow a hole through the center, rough this hole out, and then possibly machine these holes undersized. Because over here, if we look, we've got a true position tolerance of everything. So probably not the most efficient thing, but it's to make a good part. That's what I would do. So that's a good plan to start with. And then we'll come back and actually come up with a way to hold on to it and machine this back face again and that outside. Even if that means we'll have to create like a temporary fixture or something like that. All right, here you can see the model. And this is what I want to use the model for, is just so we can get an idea of what we're looking at. And I want to treat this just like all we got from the customer is the 2D drawing, like seen here. But the model I just want to use as a tool to be able to show, what I'm thinking as far as how we're going to machine this. And like all jobs that I go through, the process evolves as you go along. So what I've got planned right now is we're going to put this face up first with the stock. We're going to barely clean up the bottom face. if we do it all, we may just mill, you know, 2 steps on either side for the parallels to sit on it, and clean the outer 4 edges up so that we can locate it on this next op. Then on the next op, what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and rough all this stuff out, rough all the holes out, mill the different steps, you know, do all the roughing that we can. We'll probably release the part from the vise and then reclamp it so that, you know, if it has any stress in it, it'll move, and then finish the part on this face, finish all the holes, and then the next op will be, just like I said before, we'll probably hold it this way. It'll get straight, and then we'll come up with a set of vice jaws that we can just clamp it in. I think as long as we don't, you know, put too much force on it, we'll just have a step for it to sit on back here, and then create some kind of cavity for it to sit here, even if we've got to use, you know, these 4 points or 3 points here, I'm sorry, for it to sit down on. And we'll get more into detail on that. I'll probably use models. I'll create this stuff just for visuals in my own time, so you guys get a better idea of what I'm talking about later on down the road. I may go into some of the detail as far as, you know, how I would cut the jaws and stuff like that too, but at least we'll go into how we can design them or whatever. But with that given, or with that said, anyway, we're gonna go back and look at the print some more, and go through and pick some tools that we need. So for the first side, and I'm writing notes again. So for that first side, we'll go back and look at the model. Our stock. Do this G-view bottom, and let's create a rectangle. Same length and width as what stock we said. We said we was going to do 4 3/4 by 3 inches wide. 33. And anchor to center, and we'll do it. We'll just kind of eyeball it on here. If it'll quit picking that. Alright, that looks pretty close. Back to our solid. So what we can do is, so we're not using any excess up on the face in case we need some on that face. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo that, and we're going to do a bounding box, because I think that'll make it a little bit more easier to see. Rectangular. Reselect. We said 4.5 or 4.75. 3 and then 1. Alright, now we've got a bit more visual representation of what our stock's going to look like. As far as our faces go, got about 100 thousandths or 3 millimeters on this face, and should be about the same here. Okay, so we will take some off of that face, because I don't want to leave 100 thousandths on there, because that's gonna that'll put too much stress in it. So we'll clean it up all but about maybe 50 thousandths, 30 to 50 thousandths on this back face. Just clean up the outer edges. We don't have to do the ends because we've got plenty of stock there, but just clean up this front and back edge so that when we put it in our vise, we've got something square to hold on to. Flip it up. We're going to rough it all the way down to, you know, this, I think that's 200 thousandths, at 200 thousandths lip there. When we go to rough any excess off of here, I don't think that's going to really make a big difference as far as the shape of the part. We may even, I'm not sure. I'm still thinking about how this is going to react when we hold it in the vise. I think we'll be all right. As long as we don't hold it too tight, I think it'll be all right. We'll just see how it goes. But like I said, we'll rough it down to there. Finish rough out the holes, rough and then finish this whole side basically. But basically it'll be a big rectangle with all these features in it. And then when we flip it over, we'll hold just as deep as what these are, all these features are, and then match up this shape, and then finish up that back face. For one off, this is probably good enough. I don't think that outside shape has any, it doesn't have any specific call out on the size or anything. It's just, you know, there for structure. So I don't want to get too much into all that. I want to get into the toolpath so we understand what we're doing, and some of the thinking behind, you know, how I'm doing stuff and why. But you know, that's up for debate on whether this is the correct way to do it or not. The cheapest way to do it is the correct way to do it. So now we're going to get into some tool selection. The only thing that's going to limit us on tools is if you look right here, we've got a max corner radius in all of these corners where these ribs intersect these bosses, and that's 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters roughly. So that tells me right there you got a little bit of leeway with that. So and really and truly, I created this. So basically what I'm trying to do is just say, you know, look out for things like this on a drawing before you start picking tools. You know, you can come here and say, well, I'm just going to use 3/4, 1 inch diameter end mill to hog all this stuff out. And you can do that, but then the part won't be correct. And we'll probably start with a 1 inch or diameter tool or something like that to rough all this out, just to get it done. But then we'll have to come back and rest rough these corners and things like that. So, but on our, just as far as our first side goes, we're just gonna, we know right away we're gonna, you know, face this back face and skim up the outside. And then, so this is what, 3 inch wide stock, pretty sure. Yes. So I'm just going to go with I know I've got a 2.5 inch face mill in the machine. So I'm writing the list down. That'll be my tool 1, tool 2. I'll probably just go with just a standard 1/2 inch end mill. And that'll be op 1. Op 2, I can use those same 2 tools. And then we can face the part, rough all these pockets out with it. And then the finish, we're going to use We'll probably need at least a spot drill to spot these holes. So we're going to do tool 3 will be like a 3/8 spot drill, 3/8 or 10mm spot drill, whatever's your preference. And what size holes were those? Those were 260 diameter. I don't have a drill chart in front of me, so what we'll do is we'll just drill them small. So we'll do something like a 6mm drill, 6mm, and I'll be drilling about 236. And that'll give me an opportunity to show you how to modify or create a tool. We'll drill them undersized and come back with a larger, like a 1/4" end mill, and finish them out, or probably like a 3/16 or something. So I'll go ahead and add that as tool 5 as a 3/16 end mill. This inner diameter, we'll rough it with a 1/2 inch. Probably come back with, I don't know, probably still we'll have another 1/2 inch that we'll call for finish. That we'll use to clean up these faces and finish this bore. It might have a little bit longer flute length on it, so maybe 1.25 inches or something like that. And what else we need? So I've got the, oh yeah, we're going to use a 1/4 inch end mill to finish these corners out. We'll have to verify our flute length on these areas here. The overall length is 787, so as long as we got about, we'll probably get a 1/4 inch end mill with at least 3/4 flute length. What else we need? I think that'll do it. Go back and look at the model. Double check and verify. You got to put a little more thought into it when you've just got a drawing. See how easy it is just to look at the model and say, hey, I need a tool this long. And we'll go into a solids creation lesson later on down the road, but I don't want to get into all that now. I just want to do toolpaths and, some approaches to certain parts. So we've got the tool list. We know what size stock. And in the next video, what we'll do is we'll go over, taking all these dimensions and translating that to what geometry we'll need to actually make our part. And it'll be fairly simple. I'll do the next video will probably be the first op of this, which is where we're gonna skim the face and then clean up the 2 edges. So let's end this right here, and then we'll continue on in the next video. So thanks for watching. Y'all please like, subscribe, comment, anything y'all want to go over in future videos, please comment in the comment section. And like I said, this print will be linked in the to my Google Drive in the description down below. So Feel free to download it and practice in your own time. So, till next time, thanks for watching.